World of Tanks Commander Skills. I'm going to go through the skills and perks in World of Tanks. This is obviously an updated edition. This is for the current version. We've got Brothers in Arms, Repairs, Concealment, and Firefighting. These are the ones that are common among all the crew members. And then you've got Recon, Jack of all trades, Mentor, Eagle Eye, Sound Detection. And over here we have for the radio operator, which is because this vehicle does not have a radio operator. Why does it say radio operator over here? So it looks like it's possible in this vehicle you also have the radio operator on the loader. Okay, so we'll start with Brothers in Arms. This is a skill that is like the food consumable, and it's like vents. It enhances the performance, which is that percentage, that 105%, but all of your crew members have to have it trained to 100%. So most people think that Brothers in Arms is the most important crew skill, and they put it on first, and I have it on first for virtually all of my crew in my barracks. It really is worthwhile, especially when you also run vents and the vent purge directive and the food consumables. It really helps out because it's going to be like having a gun rammer or like having the gun laying drive. When you have everything together combined, it really does improve the performance of your vehicle. And I first noticed it playing Frontline because there's something called Inspire. And when you would activate it, I would immediately notice a huge performance improvement. And then when it deactivates, you notice that the improvement went away. That's what Brothers in Arms does. Repairs is for repairing your tracks, your gun, your optics, your ammo rack. On the lower left of your game, it shows damage modules. You want your vehicle to repair as quickly as possible, but this will only ever repair to 50%. Over here, you will see repairs listed here. And obviously it is, you get some benefit with your large repair kit. And there are some equipment that helps out with repairs also. Basically, people use repairs because if you get tracked out in the open, you don't want the enemy to keep shooting at you. So you want to repair as quickly as possible so you can retreat. What I do is I use 2 repair kits, so I did not use repairs on most of my vehicles. It's not that big of a deal for me. And if you use light tanks, I use the equipment to make the tracks stronger, so you just get tracked less often. So people usually use repairs on heavy tanks. That's what everyone else recommends. I prefer to go with the 2 repair consumables. You can use this on any of your crew members. So the top line, you always want to put on the loader, because the loader doesn't have that many. It's only got 3 unique crew skills. So make sure your loader has all of these. Concealment, because you want your commander to have these crew skills like Recon. So concealment helps you hide. It makes a difference. I had a game where I saw something fall down in front of me. It had to have been that a vehicle knocked it over, and it wasn't that far away from me. But my view range was so low and his concealment was so high that right in front of me I couldn't see him. So concealment is important. It gives you a big advantage. It doesn't have such a great impact on heavy tanks, but on large maps it will, where you're far away. You don't want to get spotted. But on light tanks, you definitely want concealment, and medium tanks, you're going to want concealment. Definitely with SPGs, definitely with light tank destroyers. With a light tank, it's more important to have recon than concealment, because your concealment's already pretty good. With light tanks, you're going to do spotting. You want to focus on spotting, not concealment. Firefighting, early on in the game, you're going to catch on fire more often, especially if you don't have the perk for the driver, which is preventative maintenance. If you get this, you don't need firefighting on all your crew. So it depends. Do you want to play a defensive game or an offensive game? An offensive game, you're going to get recon, and a defensive game, you're going to get firefighting. Or you could say, do you want high performance or do you want to defend your vehicle? I was only destroyed by fire 1 out of 1,000 games. So that's why I'm not putting firefighting on a lot of my vehicles. However, some vehicles need firefighting, especially Chinese vehicles, because the engines catch on fire easily. Any vehicle that has a front-mounted engine, like this one, I would probably put it on. Any vehicle, let's see if we can find one with front mounted right here. So you got the engine in the front and right here. This one you're going to want firefighting because the engine's going to catch on fire often. That particular crew member actually was for that vehicle. So my advice, put firefighting on your loaders and your radio operators, and then consider it later for your commander. The recon lets you see further, not that much further. It increases your experience. I went through my statistics. I got recon on all of my commanders. My heavy tanks don't spot very much. I don't think their spotting damage was high. I'm going to say recon is not that great for heavy tanks. And I'm not going to say you get nothing out of it, but put repairs probably before you put recon. Jack of all trades, if your other crew gets injured, you're going to take less of a performance hit. It does not replace the health kit. The first aid kit can restore them to full health, including your commander. The Jack of all trades cannot repair your commander. If your commander is injured and you're a light tank, you got big problems. Almost any tank, if your commander is injured, you're going to have big problems. So it's nice to have, especially for frontline, because you can go to the repair facility. It's not a replacement for the health kit. I would use Jack of all trades. You know, you got to know which tank you have injured crew. And as an example, the mouse has strong armor. Your crew will never be injured. An SPG, it doesn't matter if your crew gets injured because they'll destroy your tank because you have very little armor. It works better if you have more crew. If you only have 2 or 3 crew members, Jack of Trade is useless. If you have 5 or 6, it comes in handy a bit more. It's just one of those things where you can get some benefit out of it, but not so much. So I would put some of these other crew skills before I put Jack of all trades. Mentor improves the XP for your crew members, but the problem is there's so many ways to improve your crew XP that this really is not very useful anymore. And some people never used it. So I would say this is kind of less important. You can skip on it. Eagle Eye lets you see if another vehicle has a damaged gun or damaged ammo rack or damaged track or damaged commander. I have it on some vehicles. It's useful if you know that the ammo rack is damaged, because then you know he's got a long reload and you can run up to him and just keep nailing him. And it also lets you know if the engine is damaged, because maybe if you fire at his engine, you'll set him on fire. And it will let you know if the loader is damaged or the gunner, because then he'll have problems with his aim time, his load time, etc. But you really aren't going to get to use it as often as you want to. Unfortunately, I have not found much use for it, because usually it's just the tracks that are damaged. However, it's one of those things that can give you a little bit of benefit in a game. And if you're one-on-one, I would definitely say use Eagle Eye. But if you're one-on-three, it's really not going to help you if you know that someone else is injured, because you got two other tanks you got to worry about. Sound detection lets you hear incoming SPG. This was actually something that I suggested like 5 years ago. And I don't have it on most of my vehicles, but for a slow, heavy tank, you might want it. Or for a vehicle like a light tank destroyer where you're just parking and you're not used to moving, you're probably going to want it. Or a light tank where you can quickly move. So it's useful. Now, I would say Brothers in Arms is first. Some people are going to say put sound detection second. If you're not a good player, you get hit by SPG all the time, my advice is you put sound detection second. It's going to improve your game. You probably want repairs third. If you're spotting, you're going to put recon or concealment. If you really want to defend yourself, go for the firefighting, but not so much. I did an experiment. Of all your crew, you only need firefighting on one crew member to save yourself if you got caught on fire when you had full hit points. Jack of all trades, and then Eagle Eye, and then Mentor. So my recommendation is Brothers in Arms, maybe sound detection, repairs, recon, concealment, firefighting, Jack of all trades, Eagle Eye, Mentor. You're probably going to need Jack of all trades more often than firefighting, so maybe you want to put Jack of all trades first. Now here you got the option of situational awareness, which is like recon, better than recon. Relaying, which is good if you got a lot of allies in the game, but as far as I know, you don't earn any benefit. Improves allied signal range. Good for an SPG, good on grand battles, good in frontline. Call for vengeance earns you extra experience. If you're out of the game, you can still do a little bit of spotting damage as long as your radio operator was not injured. Signal boosting is good for frontline and grand battles, and it will save you money on buying radios. You don't need to upgrade your radio. You can use your stock radio and have signal boosting. It's also good for light tanks and SPGs or anyone that does spotting in general. And the reason why is because you earn spotting damage for people that you reach. If someone relays and they're seeing it through a relay, you don't get the spotting damage. So if you have a light tank or you do a lot of spotting, you want the signal boosting. But it is a radio operator skill, so you want to put these skills first because these might not work on the vehicle. So those are the commander skills and perks. Now they are called perks. You see that it has the word perk over here. In some cases, they're going to work right away, and in some cases, I think you have to have it trained all the way before it works. And you can press Alt to see a little bit of a demonstration for how it matters. So I'm going to go over again. Mentor is probably going to be the last one you have trained. and put firefighting, save this for your loader, radio operator. Put Eagle Eye more towards the end of what you train. Except for one vehicle. Get one vehicle that has Eagle Eye so you can practice with it and see if you like it. You're probably going to want to use Eagle Eye on heavy tanks where you can take some sort of an action, especially if you have an autoloader. An autoloader with Eagle Eye, very useful combination. Not good for SPGs because the SPG has to be within spotting range, which is very low. Your spotting range is low. With an SPG, you're really not going to get any benefit from Eagle Eye. Sound detection, good for SPGs because it will protect you from incoming fire from other SPGs. Jack of all trades, not useful with heavily armored tanks like the Mouse because your crew won't get injured. And that's basically it. From the ones on the bottom, if you have this choice, you want situational awareness because it earns you extra experience. You want Call for Vengeance because it earns you extra experience. There's some people who said it was useless. It's not useless. You want Signal Boosting, saves you money. You don't have to upgrade your radios. You could save 50,000 silver per vehicle. Relaying, good the beginning of the game when lots of allies are in the game. Good for SPGs. Good on frontline in grand battles. You got to have lots of allies in the game. If there's only you and a few allies, relaying really doesn't work so well. Relaying primarily is good if you got a lot of snipers on your team. Okay, so those are my comments for the commander. And the only other comment I have is that if you go into your barracks and you look at these crew members, these are called zero skill BIA. Crew members are called recruits. You don't want to use these crew members as your commanders. You want to use these crew members that have more crew skills. You save these for the loader and the radio operator, and you put these for the commander, driver, and gunner. In fact, you'll notice this one, Vinnie Jones, only for the commander. He's got the commander icon. He only works as a commander. So you want to be careful. You don't want to put this as your commander and then you go to the driver and you can't use this one because he only works for the commander. You got to watch out for that. If you only have these, let's say you don't have these top three guys, you only got the ones on the bottom, use them for your commander and use the regular recruits for the loader and the radio operator. Okay, that's my information. If you have any questions about commanders, commander skills, or commander crew, please post below. I will answer all of your questions. I am the owner of cheapbooks.com, which is a website for searching for books and textbooks. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.